Hey, good morning. It's Wednesday, November 18th. Thank you for being a part of these everyday thoughts. And the thought this morning is about gratitude. And I want to make gratitude something that is not just a symbol that we associate with turkeys and Thanksgiving Day. And yes, I should be thankful. But why is gratitude so particularly useful to us? Why is it powerful? And one of the ways that gratitude is powerful is that it is a weapon, legitimately, seriously, a weapon to attack and overcome fear. And what does that look like practically? That's what we're going to try to look at this morning. The book of James gives us a little help with that. So typically when we face something that is difficult for us, we may call it a challenge, a trial, a difficulty. You might even put the label trigger on it. Whatever it is, it's unpleasant for us. We want to avoid it. And it may very well be something that is legitimately a very difficult problem or situation that we have to face. Our natural response when we face a challenge, trial, trigger of that nature is to run, is to escape. How can I get away from this? How can I avoid the consequences of this challenge, this trial? So I have the challenge, I have the trial, I have the response of escape. How can I get away? That leads to fear. So I have the challenge, I have the trial, I don't like it, I want to get away. That takes me by the hand or by the scruff of the neck or whatever you want and drags us into fear. Biblically, God has a different response for us. God's response is when I face this challenge, this difficulty, this trial, my response is one of joy. And that joy leads me to gratitude. So instead of trial, escape, fear, which is our normal pattern, what God is calling us to, what the Holy Spirit is calling us to, is trial or challenge, joy, thanksgiving. See, those are two radically different paths. And the desire to escape the challenge or flee from it or run from it is what leads us into fear. Now, James gives us some concrete help in looking at that. In chapter 1, again, probably something you've heard more times than you can count, but bear with me and listen again to what James is saying, what the Holy Spirit is saying to us. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds. That covers the whole waterfront of what I just mentioned. What do you call it? Challenge, a difficulty, some anxiety producer, some trigger, whatever it is. Count it joy, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything, having all that you want. Now, that winding up not lacking anything, having all that you need, that's a reason for Thanksgiving. But I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to make it to that Thanksgiving without considering this thing joy. And I consider this trial joy because God says He's in it. We can trust Him. And if I walk as He wants me to walk in it, it's going to produce this perseverance, which is going to produce strength, which is going to produce the ability to me see this thing is not going to overcome me. I'm not going to be trapped. But if that first response is one of, how can I get out of this? Then there's no joy there. The only desire is relief. The only desire is escape. And if my desire is escape, then that leads me by the hand right into fear. What if I don't escape? What's going to happen? Rather, what James is telling us is that this trial, this temptation, this issue that I'm facing is something I can look at with joy because God is there with me. If I pursue Him, He will not abandon me. and I will not lack anything. I'll have everything I need. And this trial will help produce that. It'll grow in me. It's like pulling weeds in the garden. It's like getting yourself into shape to do something. This is producing good things in us. And then when I see that, then I have gratitude. So trials, these challenges, should lead us this path of trial, seeing God work in me, which brings joy, which then leads to gratitude because God has rescued from this. I am stronger than I was before. If I go the other way, I've got the trial, the challenge, the trigger. I have this immediate desire to escape, and that leads me right into fear. Because if I want to escape, I'm missing the thing that God has for me in this to grow. And you think about that today. And Lord willing, we'll come back to this tonight and turn this over in your mind today. If you want to send me some questions or feedback, do that. But we'll follow up on this tonight. Remember the two paths. Is it the trial? The desire to escape leads me to be dominated by fear? Or is it the trial, the growth in God, which leads to joy, which leads me to thanksgiving? And that's the thought for this morning. Again, thank you for being here, and the Lord bless each of us, me as well, this day, as we live a life that brings honor to Him. Lord willing, we'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.